I'm trying to buy less things and look after them properly. So I read this book. It's really changed my life. It's called Less by Patrick Grant. He'd be a great guest for you to speak to. He hosts the Great British Sewing Bee. Tall, good-looking guy with a moustache. And he's got his own brand called Community Clothing. And the idea is the stuff is, instead of being woven together by a tiny Chinese child slave and then falls apart after one wash, it's well-made stuff that's made here, but it's made better, so it lasts longer. So my trainers are made in Bolton. Can you believe that?
Wow.
How cool is that? Walsh trainers.
But the only thing I will say is with my thing about buying expensive socks is I've never, ever kept a pair of socks in a pair after one wear.
No. Well, it makes you do that though.
Maybe. It gives you a different relationship to it.
I wanted to buy his blue socks because I thought, right, I've got no blue socks and I'm experimenting with colour at the moment.
So this is all this man's brand?
Well, what happened was the blue were out of stock. So I looked on his website for the out of stock blue socks. It said woven in Reigate, Surrey. So I went, who makes socks in Reigate, Surrey? And I just went to the company. I thought it must be a contract he's got with them. So they're called Pepper Harrow. And they're not posh. They're not like designer. They're just like
good quality.
But it's the other thing I've started doing. I never understood the difference between like using non-bio or bio. I just put everything in the washing machine and torch it. So now I wash everything. I don't tumble dry. I hang things out. I'm lucky.
Do you feel better?
Yeah, I just like it's just better stuff.
But apparently it's better for you.
Yeah,
apparently it's better for your health. Like one of our friends, me and Emily are best friends. One of our friends has this like, well, it's not really a conspiracy theory, but thinks that like a lot of the really cheap stuff that we're wearing, the chemicals in that is really harmful.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
It's harmful for your wallet and it's harmful for the planet.
Well, I'll tell you before we get started, the weirdest thing, because I haven't said this on the podcast yet. So I've had for like 15 years, like really long acrylic nails. And my friend Tyler said to me a few weeks ago, she was like, have you ever thought maybe one of the reasons you're always ill is because you've got these really long nails and they're contracting germs all the time? So I got rid of them like 5 weeks ago and I haven't been ill. No. And really? I usually have like a cold
There's all rats congregated around the clippings.
Yeah, that's literally what it was.
Heaven. That's bubonic in there. I haven't seen that for centuries.
But I think it's because of the nails.
And all the hand jobs you've administered.
Yes, exactly. And I never wash my hands
up and down the country.
Job. No.
I was really fine.
I got the plague.
I had a great date with a girl and then my Willie got ill. I think it was her nails, you know.
Well, thank you for coming on the podcast, Russell. You're tired. It's it's not early in the morning, but you've travelled down to London last night.
For stand-ups, it's early.
Yeah, well, it's always early for me. You've travelled down last night and you've stayed in a Holiday Inn near me. What was the Holiday Inn saying?
Do you know what? For the first 5-6 years I toured, I used to be like, where's the 5-star boutique hotel? I deserve it, you know. I've earned good money last night. And they're so variable. And they try so hard with their trendy one lamp where you can't see what you're fucking doing and there's no aircon because it's original sash windows. I like a freezing cold, predictable prison cube because I know what I'm going to get. So I turned up last night, 2 a.m, fucking hard-working people at the desk. Didn't give a shit who I was. Into the room, freezing cold. There's the iron. There's the kettle. Everything is exactly as predicted. The posher you go, the more annoying the hotel comes, unless you push through to
unreal
Dubai. I'm not spending like $1,000 a night. No disrespect.
Oh, I don't know. It's so hard though because I mean, actually, I think Holiday Inns
solid,
consistent. That's what I like about a Holiday Inn. It's very consistent. You always know what you're getting.
That's what I need at 2:30. I need consistency because I need to be at 2:30 a.m. from arrival to hand shandy to snoring. I need 45 minutes max.
Well, I met David Nutt like last year at an event and was talking to him about it for ages because I'd said I'd mentioned my dad, because my dad once made this documentary about different alternative ways to treat depression. And one of the things was that he went to this clinical trial for people doing ketamine for like severe cases of depression. And we really wanted him to take it, but the BBC wouldn't let him. Yeah. But he was really up for it. And then that made him...
smashed a gram of Mandy instead.
I was like, let's just go out.
A wicked night.
Yeah. Come out with me and the girls. You'd love it.
The only negative was he lost his sun hat.
But he now he thinks that we should, you know, because one of my worst periods of depression, I was in LA and I was just having a nibble of a gummy every day, and it just eventually my depression did lift because I was a bit more relaxed.
The way I understand, I don't know much about the harder substances like ketamine and all of that, but the way I understand psilocybin and THC, which I've read about, which I obviously wouldn't take in the United Kingdom, but were I in a country where it was legal, I'd be interested to learn more, close brackets, please employ me BBC, is that what the most interesting thing I ever saw about David Nutt with psilocybin, magic mushrooms, whatever you want to call them, is it took him 10 years to get permission to scan people's brain while they was on mushrooms. That's all he wanted to do as a scientific experiment, was give psilocybin to people, scan their heads and see what their brains did. And he was like, we're finally going to see which parts of the brains are activated under mushrooms. And the scanner came out and every single person's scan was completely black, grey. Not a single part of the brain was switched up or turned on, but 2 parts were turned off. And he was so surprised by that result. The first part was to do with depth and spatial perception. No surprise. That's why the telly spins if you do mushrooms, so I'm told. And but the second one was the central processing unit, the ego, the central hub that says, I am Grace, I have back pain, I'm traveling today, I need to see the doctor, this is my dog, that's my dad. That bit just gets turned down. If you take too many, you're like, who am I? Float off through space. But if you take, so I've read, 3 to 5 grams, you can just reflect on yourself without any... Someone could go to you, Grace, you know, earlier, it really pissed me off. And you're like, I can see how they did that. How interesting. Why did I do that? And you become interested in yourself in a totally untriggered way. You can explore PTSD, fucking sexual assault. You can explore addiction. You can explore insomnia. You can explore so many things. But it's put in the Daily Mail junkie idiot pot with everything else. So I've got members of my family, lovely people, and you'll say, oh, did you read the story about how... Say, I heard a story, Grace was telling me about how edibles was helping someone with depression in LA. Oh, yeah, but did you see him in the park the other week on Spice? Same thing. So it's all in the same Daily Mail, Little England, racist, small-minded pot. Whereas they're all completely different things.
And also, what is so true is like, if you pitched alcohol to someone who had just arrived here, to a scientist who like knew how the body worked, how the mind worked, they would be like, there's no fucking way. We should tell people to drink that to soothe their
It's
pain.
addictive. It's processed by the liver. You're hungover from it. Whereas psilocybin and THC, the people that use it report hang-unders, where you wake, you wake up, oh, I'm more energized, I'm stronger in the gym, I'm happier. It's a hang-under.
No, I know. And also anxiety is fueled by alcohol. Like the cycle is made worse. So people who have alcohol dependencies and also really bad anxiety, it's like, the worst thing for you, because the next day your anxiety is so much worse. So then you are clinging on to drinking more. Yeah. Whereas, I mean, I've spoken about getting high and taking shrooms on this podcast loads. So I will say, when I have taken shrooms in my life, it's made me uncover things in my brain or things that I'm trying to work through, for example, and sped them along a bit.
Because your ego's not involved.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if we got absolutely wankered now on vodka, made all kinds of plans, we're going to make films, we're going to do this, I'm going to open up a sanctuary for King Charles Spaniels, we check a whole load of shit. And the next morning, we're like, oh God, I'm so sorry, some of that was a bit inappropriate, I didn't mean any of that. But if we fucking did mushrooms and looked at the stars, half the stuff we thought about, we would enact the next. And also, stone cold sober with a coffee a week later, you go, I'm going to do this. And you'll trace it back. You're like, oh my God, that's from the psilocybin moment. So people shouldn't do this stuff illegally. They shouldn't take it recreationally, but we should be looking at ways that we can use it medicinally and therapeutically.
So you are drinking less, is what you're saying?
Yeah, so I like a nice beer.
Unconsciously.
If I go to, because I still tragically go out partying. So I'm really into this DJ called Ben Hemsley. You have to be into house music to have heard of it.
Okay.
He's like Geordie working class Mozart coming through. And he was doing some rave in literally a post-apocalyptic tin shed near Manchester last week. And he came to my show at Sheffield City Hall. I fucking spanked the back doors off it. Then we travelled in our tour bus, my tour van thing, to his gig. And he went on at midnight and we fucking danced to techno till 2 a.m. So then I will have like a couple of double vodkas just to get the party going. So balance. Balance is the key. No one wants to use the word I'm vegan, I'm starved myself, I'm fasting, I'm eating 100% carbs, I've had 9 pills, I'm sober. Like no one's interested in balance. Like
this is what I was saying the other day. This is the issue with the internet. It's like you follow people and all they give out is this like 2-dimensional sort of portrayal of how they live their life. And then I meet them and I'm like, they're fucking addicted to coke and smoking loads. Yeah. And I'm like, why aren't you more honest with like you're putting out this, I get up at 5 a.m. every day and I don't vape. And it's like, then you you meet them, and I'm like, you're a bit of a wreckhead, which is fine. It's just like, I don't understand this sort of like lack of duality that the internet makes people have.
And the internet's always preaching extreme solutions because the algorithm is driven by extreme content. So that's why you get people starving themselves, gorging themselves, totally sober and happy. I live in an oxygen chamber. I'm going to live till I'm 100. What's the point? You might as well die, you boring cunt. And something in the middle. I live extremely well for a man of my age.
How old are you?
Smashing it. I'm 50 in August.
You're joking.
So I know I'm
Are
smashing
you joking?
it. No, but
have you had any Botox?
No. Apart from, I've got a scar here, and if I don't put Botox in it, it bulges back out.
You look so young.
I've got all my lines. I have to, for a male comic of my style, where I'm doing extreme storytelling,
you need your facial expressions.
I would love to soften. I'm not against it. I'm not no judgment.
I don't think you need to. Honestly, your skin looks great.
I would love to soften this line. But I know that if I did, I would.
There's not only one, just
yeah, that's what I mean. But I need them.
Yeah,
I need them.
Your skin looks young.
Yeah,
your skin looks really healthy.
And we can get into that. I am a biohacker. I do lots of things that other people don't do.
Like?
But the point is, I do let loose. I do have takeaway when I'm on the road. I go to Ibiza at least once a year. I'm going twice this year. I will dance my fucking tits off. I have done since I was 18. I'm not slowing down. I love dancing to house music. That is my ideal. I prefer a day party, I've got to admit. I don't think that's an age thing. It just wasn't available when I was younger. I just love, you're completely normal at 10 a.m, brush your teeth, midday, bit of burger and chips, line the stomach.
My problem is I go to a day party and then by 6 p.m. I'm like, right, I'll carry on. My facialist once told me that you shouldn't restrict yourselves from having that kind of fun, because that's also what keeps you young.
That is being a biohack in itself.
Yeah, being able to let go of some of this like energy, and you work hard, so you should be able to have, because that's kind of how.
And it's the social aspect of it as well. I don't think you would get the benefit of just getting. It's probably fun to do, and you should experiment as an act of self-love to get on a plane and go to a rave on your own. But you won't get as much from it as going with like a best mate or a partner or meeting people there. Human beings are wired for connection. So there's a guy, I do actually respect what the guy's doing for science. He's on Netflix, he's called Brian Johnson, and he does all the oxygen chamber. Like, I have an IV drip, I go to bed at 4 p.m, I get up at 5. And I'm not someone that goes, what's the point? You got no life. I'm glad he's doing it because he's literally sacrificing his life for science. But he would be the first one to admit the one metric which isn't going up is the stuff from social connection, because you can't get social connection living like that. So
but it's like those like amazing memes you see, and it's like the the woman who lives to 115 in Italy. What's her secret? Well, I've been single for the last 4 years. I just hang out with my friends.
Yes.
Like it's good. It's better for women, I think, to have that community, and that's what needs to be encouraged more culturally.
Interestingly,
in men
who are single die earlier than married men, but women who are single, there's no difference.
Yeah, well, a lot of them live longer.
Yeah, not surprised.
So sleep and stress. So diet, exercise, sleep, and stress.
Exercise, and in this, the stress and is the social connection, sex, which is more important for women than they like to admit, and if you're not shagging regularly, I do believe that. Certainly when you're younger, I think the human body needs that sort of erotic connection. If we were American, this would be so much easier. I could already feel myself clamming up, reaching for the kettle. And then
holiday
when you've got all of those aligned, those four, then you can look at evidence-based supplementation. Then and only then should you be taking magic pills on top of everything else you're doing. And some of those magic pills work amazingly. The evidence is really strong for things like NMN, resveratrol, fisetin. When they rats,
I've not heard of any of these.
No, because people waste their money taking vitamins that they piss
Well,
out.
I take probiotics.
That's a good thing to
which
take.
is amazing, and slippery elm, which has been really good for my digestion.
Yeah.
And then I just have apple cider vinegar as well.
They're all okay.
But what are they? I've never heard of any of those.
So
you're like a scientist.
Anti-age, because what happened was I started my career so late due to being a peasant from a council estate. The problem is, if you're a peasant from a council estate, there's no reason why you can't climb up if you've got talent. It's difficult in a comprehensive school, but you discover things later. So my daughter's growing up like super privileged, spoiled shite. So she lives on a yo sushi of mate violin. Yeah, I tried that. Karate. I'll give it 6 months. So by the time she gets to 18, she'll know all the things she like. Whereas it took me till I was 27, 28. I was 10 years. Had to become middle class first, which was a Herculean effort. Pull myself through university on your own, boy. I'm not paying for that shit. Bye, Dad. He's in heaven now. And
R.I.P.
And then sort of got a first in my degree, and from then on everything's followed. But it took me another 5 years for the posh people at the office go, you should do stand-up, you're really funny. I just thought that was fat racist old men like Bernard Manning telling jokes. So I started getting this act going, winning all these awards. Like, fucking hell, man, this is what I was born to do. Left my day job, and I was getting to 31, 32, and I was like, aging starts younger than you think. Aging, you start 30, everything starts changing, the tummy starts growing, energy going down, and I was like, oh, but I've got a Lee Evans type act, but with a...
You've got to have that.
So that's when I, bit by bit, I've educated myself, book by book, study by study. So it seems like I'm a know-it-all scientist, but sheer blackmail from my wallet is what's driven my studies. I love earning good money and I love doing stand-up. But for me to do that, I've got to move like a 30-year-old man.
But you do look unbelievable. Like you look.
I followed the science.
Yeah, because you haven't really aged.
It's diet. That's what I've done from about 33, 34 onwards. I've tried to slow down aging as much as possible, doing the stuff that's free to anyone. You don't need a gym membership. You could do a workout in this room, push-ups, leg squats. If a door is strong enough, you can do pull-ups, jogging on the spot for your cardio. You don't need anything posh. You only need to go to the vegetable aisle and the fucking value meat aisle. Everything you need is in the supermarkets.
What is your, do you and your wife like hosting parties?
We probably would if we had if I had a life. It's just my career is so busy that we have to go abroad to unwind. Our days off. Hey, who wants to hang out on a Monday?
Yeah,
No you're a stand-up. You know what I'm talking about.
Well, it's also like I don't have many friends now who are freelance. Like all of my friends are in like full-time jobs.
Correct.
So whenever I'm free, no one else is around.
I do like, my wife's northern, so yes, we do like house full. There's always someone staying. I love all that stuff. But really, I have to say to my agent, I'm leaving the country. I can't do it. So please don't phone me. And sure enough, I know you're on holiday, but no, absolutely not. Family time is important. Scroll down to the bottom of the email. I'll be there 6 p.m.
I know. That is the problem. But I think it's good to... I had that this week because I'm going to Paris today and I got offered the easiest job in the world tomorrow. And I was like, no, I actually can't.
Exactly.
This is why my back is fucked because I need to have some time away from being asked.
That's important.
Totally.
Me and Lindsay put a picture of us online, like raving, fucking... Let's just living our best life. Your parents at your age, how are you still going? It's like, you wouldn't say that about a race or a gender or someone's cultural activity based on any other accident of their birth. But apparently the date of birth, you have to stop having fun. Which twat made that rule? I refuse to live by that rule. I'm not going there to have a fake time to look good. I'm going there because I love dancing. I love partying. I love the randomness of a night out. I still love it. I do it in a safe way. I'm not abusing my body and my family. We take our in-laws on holiday. So my daughter's with our in-laws in a beautiful villa in the middle of the island. Then me and Lindsay disappear, have an adventure and return the next day.
But that's so fun. And also like, I was always quite jealous of my friends who had, and like, I really hope my parents don't take offense to this because they do listen to my podcast, but they're not like the funnest people in the world. Like they are funny, but they, are one glass of wine and then we'll go to bed at 10 kind of vibes. Yeah. And like when I've
what are they doing at 10?
they have a great sex. No, they have a great sex life. But that is nothing to do with me. No. My friend's parents.
It is, the walls are quite thin.
But then my dad will be like,
can you peg a bit more quietly, please?
In COVID, was it in COVID? No, it was more recently because it's when I had a dog. I heard them having sex. It was horrific. And again, they'll be really upset that I've said this on the podcast. But some of my friends' parents are so fun, and I do wish that I could have more fun with my parents. Like I'd love to go out to a party with them. I loved the video you did recently about Andrew Tate, and I feel
my wife told me to do that. I was like, I don't want to get involved. She went, trust me, you need to say something.
But you do. No one has to do anything. But what I liked about it is that it feels a lot of the time as a woman who talks about these things that like you're like, well, I'm preaching to a fucking choir. Like everybody who follows me disagrees with like the fundamentals of what Andrew Tate believes. And then what happens is I'll get like a video will go viral and I'll get like loads and loads of, and then I get exposed to what these actual men think. And then sometimes I just look on the internet and think, where are the men like talking about this? And I really thought it was amazing that you did that, and it made me quite happy.
It was scary, to be honest. Yeah, I got all the Terrys and Garys coming after me, and they were like, "Yeah, but you can't believe you've bought the mainstream media." And then I'm posting, it's not mainstream media. This is what the guys, and they'll give it context. So what I did was if you look in the comments, I did 10 comments with 10 lots of context. A woman is the property of her man. This was said when his brother married his wife. It wasn't said as a joke. It wasn't said ironically. He then believed that woman was the property of his brother once he got married. That's it.
But it's so interesting because it's like a lot of people, like what you will have experienced when you did that video about Andrew Tate, is like the first thing that some people will say is you don't know what you're talking about, you're, misinformation kind of stuff, because they're so quick to defend someone that they do not know.
Yeah.
This is the thing I don't understand, is this obsession with like him and other men. Andrew Tate wouldn't give a fuck about you. If he met you, he probably wouldn't approve of you. You probably don't have enough money. You don't have enough sort of level of ego. But you're still kind of on the internet defending him. It's
slightly the product of giving smartphones to children, because those children are now just becoming men. So those ones that are like between 18 and 25. And it's really it is a joke what I'm about to do, but girls laugh enough in the audience. I know there's a grain of truth in it. And I'm like, I would hate to be an 18 to 25-year-old woman dating, because it seems to be you're going to either meet socially connected, vegan, recycled clothes, socially active, I make love, but for me it's an act of dominance. I don't want to do it too much. Or an Andrew Tate fuckboy. So you're going to be bored or choked.
Yeah,
they're
it's true.
Fucking options.
It's true.
And that's because the internet and social media functions on algorithm, on extremes. So whereas someone ancient like me, well, actually not ancient, anyone born before 1997 was broadly speaking exposed to a bit more contrast when they're out. You've got to go to the pub. He's a fucking perv. He's all right. He's racist. I can talk to that person I disagree with. Your news source was the news. I disagree with that. I disagree with that. Oh, that's a load of shit. Change the channel. So your brain developed in an environment of working out what you agree and disagree with. You then got to uni. There were twats you disagreed with. There were the goths. There were this. There was the might be your first encounter with gay people if you're from somewhere in deepest Yorkshire, working class pit village. You had to work all these things out. You could be on a panel where there could be someone who believed in Nazism talking about with a vegan liberal, debating each other, and then separated by security. That was all at uni when I was there. Gone. Because these these adults are coming out of this smartphone childhood unable to tolerate anything they disagree with. And if you're unable to listen to things you disagree with, you get pushed more and more into things you agree with, till eventually you get a custard sandwich of two hard slices of people that have got nothing in common, and then all the rest of us like the custard in between that were born before these guys. So you've got childhoods now without any play where people go outside and meet other children and take risks and climb trees and break legs and deal with bullies in the park. That's all gone. So the real world is too safe. The playgrounds are too safe. You don't go out and explore. And yet we give iPads to our children and let them run free in Nonce City. So, and also
without monitoring it or,
and the problem is that the people on that sidebar, if one of your videos go viral in your comments section saying, oh, fuck this bitch, he deserves to be raped, fucking cunt, or all the shit you all get, they would never say that to you in real life. So their brains are developing in an environment where it's okay to fire misogyny without consequence. In an environment where if one of them went online and went, I said this to Grace Campbell yesterday, I would like to apologise, it was wrong, he would be mocked for his apology and torn down. Not in real life, everyone would sit there silent going, what's Gary doing? So it's completely warped the way people's brains work. Very often people go, I think you're looking for a simplistic answer for all the world's woes. Just for once, there actually is. It's social media. It properly is one thing.
I know you haven't finished it, but I think I do think that the ending of the conversation that adolescence has started is a good one.
Yeah,
because
correct.
there are so many messages in that, but one of them is that kids should not have smartphones.
No.
They shouldn't have access to the internet in the way that they do now, especially locked in their rooms and not like being monitored in any way. And that's the part that we slightly just missed it. I mean, I got an iPhone when I was about 16. So I was like,
perfect.
the first like few years of my teenage life,
Yeah,
I felt a bit more analog.
Your brain at 16 compared to 12, it's like Mars and fucking Earth.
Completely. It's so fucked up because their brains are just like, I feel this is awful to say, but I feel like they are a slightly lost generation now because their brains have been molded in a way that is very hard to undo.
Yeah, Gen Z's fucked.
It is.
So the hope is now for Gen Alpha, my daughter's
which is your daughter. Yeah.
So I need schools need to pull together here. If the law won't do it for whatever contract, I mean, Keir Starmer's like ripping the fucking radiator off my nan's hall, stabbing my disabled brother's leg just to check he's crippled enough to claim payments. Yeah, cripple, can you feel that? Fucking here's your allowance. Freeze, you old bitch. Meanwhile, our teenagers are literally killing themselves with a simple law they could pass, which was if anyone aged 0 to 14 is seen with a smartphone, the parents will be fined. If they're seen twice, you will get a criminal record. It's as illegal as having a cigarette. Just the same. Done. That it should just be done. Why are we letting harm happen to our children? If it's that easy to take my nan's heating allowance away, it should be that easy to stop teenagers turning into Andrew fucking Tate, right? And do
you think that there's a world in which that will happen?
Well, it's happened in Australia.
Has it?
So they're just trying to get it through.
And do you think that that's something that Keir Starmer would be as bold as ever to do?
I don't think he has any boldness in him. I think Angela Rayner might do it. Take fucking smartphones off kids or whatever she would do.
I love her.
But why are boys attracted to this stuff? Well, obviously I've got a daughter, like queen wife, come from a council estate, so mostly female-led families. So I'm not threatened by any of this, but I can understand what's gone wrong by accident. So obviously I love feminism, all that. I'm a comedian. I like anything that stirs things up and goes, fuck you to power. Anything, not just women's issue rights or whatever. But we must keep an eye on what's happening to boys as well. It's like when you take too much care of one sibling and forget the other resentful sibling. So all this resentment's brooding because any test you can do at the moment, women outperform men, whether it's academic, emotional outcomes, health. They live longer than us. Their relationship outcomes are better than us. Male babies have less health outcomes than female babies. In the nursing home, there's more old women. There's no fucking thing except men can lift heavier objects. That's all we have left. And we're quite good at engineering, but probably because of sexism in the university, we haven't even got that. So if you start saying to boys, right, all you've got is you can lift heavier objects. Well, we invented machines 2 centuries ago. I think men are like, oh fuck, like how do we feel like men? And in that gap, in that spiteful little gap, Andrew Tate goes, this is what you can be. This is how you can feel powerful. You can choke out a hoe on your Lamborghini, bro, and then do an MMA elbow to a homeless woman. They pour it into that gap.
Yeah, totally. And that's the thing that I've been thinking about so much is we need alternatives to him. That it's not enough sort of us all being like, he's fucking up the course of a generation of men. It's that we need more male alternatives to Andrew Tate.
It's because male power needs to be rebranded. Powerfulness, strength. So I had a fallout with a family member. You're not a fuckhead. You're not a man. I'm a real man. I would go down the pub. I've never had an argument with anyone before in my whole life because I find it so easy to get on with people. And they were like, if we were real men, we'd be down the pub having it out. We'd have a fucking fisticuffs and we'd shake hands. That's a perception by some fucking idiots of what being a man is. Not working hard, getting a career, providing for your family, having the strength to open up and have an emotional dialogue with your wife, making the sacrifices to keep your sex life alive after a decade of marriage. What does that look like? How do you do it? Most men can't even face that question. What are you talking about? That's weakness in my book.
It is weakness. And I wish a lot of those men understood that it's so much less attractive to a woman.
weak.
It's like if Andrew Tate's selling himself on how to be attractive to a woman, these things are so unattractive.
But we should also, I'm up for pro-stigmatisation.
Yeah.
So why imagine stigmatising the guy that sorts it out with fists by the pub. Let's make that not okay. Smoking went from cool to not okay easily enough, and that's an addictive substance. So it should be a piece of piss with behaviour.
But I think that's why it's this process of like, when I posted about watching Adolescence, this woman messaged me and she works in a secondary school in the Midlands, and she was like, the problem is we just have no... because of, you know, the country's fucked and like the state sector is fucked, but she was like, we have no people coming into our schools in the way that they used to, like sort of youth services or like just kind of more inspiring alternative mentors.
should do that. I'm gonna look at that.
And that was something that she was like, what would be amazing is women, sort of strong, powerful women coming in to talk to boys in a I'm not telling you what to do, but I want to talk to you about what you're feeling way. I was like, shit, that should exist.
Yeah.
Because I think that this is the thing that Adolescence made me think, is that younger boys are being forgotten about, and women are becoming much more forthright and confident and whatever and empowered, and that's amazing. But then what they think is their only way to go is down this sort of slightly more incel route, and that's what's got to be intersected. I'd love to meet Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
I would really love to meet
Maybe
Andrew
you
Tate.
ended up shagging him. It was for experiment, guys. But it's really weird. I blew my biscuits 3 times. What does that mean?
I honestly would really like it.
We should do an experimental deep cover shag of Andrew
Yeah, that
Tate.
would be amazing. I don't think he would want to have sex with me, but maybe. But I would really like to meet him.
Do you know what I'm interested in? That intersection of men not knowing what male strength is now, or male power, attractive, feeling powerful is, and the rise at the same time of male eating disorders, male cosmetic procedures. So if you went into a time machine back to first wave Jermaine and said, oh, female unit's great, by the way, I'm from the future. I've got mixed news. You know, women have they're definitely, you'd be really happy initially, but wait.
And also you're cancelled now, Jermaine.
Yeah, you're cancelled. We're not there with wage equalisation, but this is a bit that surprised you.
Yeah.
Men have gone, do you know what? We fancy some of your hair plucking, toxic, eating disorder, steroid, Turkish teeth, hair transplant shit. Do you mind if we have some of that? So we've joined you in a pit of anxiety, body dysmorphia. Women haven't been raised up. Men have gone, we'll have some of that.
I know. I saw, do you know that video that's gone viral of that influencer? I can't remember his name, who gets up at 3 a.m. and it's like, it's gone really viral in the last week. And he's a really famous, I think he lives in Dubai. But I saw this really funny tweet that was like, this is literally it's like the day in the life of a gay man, like a gay gym guy. And 10 years ago, straight men would have like called this man gay. And now it's become like alpha masculinity to have these sort of eating disorders, be obsessed with your weight, be getting all of these cosmetic surgeries.
And don't you find that interesting that that's happening at the same time as Andrew Tate's throwback hyper-masculine Neanderthal values? Because those two things don't belong together traditionally.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying about powerful women going in. It only works if they understand where boys actually are. Because there was a brilliant documentary I watched where this woman was going in to do, because we don't have sex education in our schools properly, which is another issue. To be fair to Labour round one, they did try to bring it in. But every time they tried to bring it in, someone from the right goes, why teach sex to children if they're not currently thinking about sex? It's not right. So that's why in this country, we don't have sex education in primary school, whereas we do.
What was her name?
Well, Melanie Phillips is one of the lead people that say it. And so all around the world, we have sex education for under 11s, but not in the UK so much. Why would you teach sex to children where they're not thinking about, you're giving them sexual thoughts? I mean, it's so ridiculous. They're not thinking about the Tudors either. So should we not mention Henry VIII in case they cut each other's fucking heads off at break time, you twat? Anyway, this woman, well-meaning, sort of 1.5 feminist, let's call her. Right, boys, we've got an experiment this week. They're all teenage lads. You're going to all have to shave your pubes so you can know
I remember
what
this.
it feels like when it's itchy. And you can just see some of the lads thinking, we already do that. You're fucking so off the mark here.
You're 20 years too late.
Have you switched
as well.
porn on? The balls and cocks have been shaved for a decade. It's like it's going in the other direction. So men are being sucked toxically into female body standards and sucked toxically into Neanderthal emotional standards.
But I think this is what happens when someone like 3 generations above of a young person tries to relate to them. And especially with that generation, which is what adolescence captured so well. It's like there is even stuff in that about how teens are communicating now that I didn't even know. And I was a teenager like 10 years ago. So it's like, well, 12 years ago. But do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh my God, that's so hot.
wow, fuck, that's crazy. But like, I thought I understood a lot of that generation because I'm chronically online. But there were all these things I was like, fuck, I don't get that. So what we need is like people slightly older, but only a few years going into schools and trying to talk to them.
It needs legislation. You will not beat the smartphone childhood. We need to. Jonathan Haidt is the book to read, Anxious Generation.
Yeah, I read that.
We need to bring back risky outdoor play where no one actually gets hurt or dies, because it's the Daily Mail thing and those newspapers make you think there's a nonce on every corner. There isn't. The only risk to a child really from sexual abuse, which we're obsessed with, is probably from a man you already know, an uncle or a scout leader or something like that. That's 99.9% a neighbour of all cases. Nonce jumping out the bush and snatching your child is virtually zero. It does happen. But if you were to put your 3-year-old on a corner in a chair in a busy high street and run off, it will be brought to social services or to you within an hour, probably. So it's just, we need children to bang their heads and climb trees and explore and be in the real world and not go online and get pulled into these two.
I couldn't agree more. Okay, well, I have to end on a question about parties because this is what the podcast is about, and Harriet will get here in 5 minutes. If you could have 3 like people at one of your parties, dead, alive, who would you like them to be?
I'd have Ben Hemsley, the DJ, because his music is just fucking
and you
amazing.
get to party with him already.
He would obviously be on the decks and attending the party. There's no question. I do everything with Lindsay. We are. I know it's a bit sickening because it's fashionable to not get on with your partner, particularly in this country, but I can't help it. We're best mates. We're
That's so nice.
So into each other. We get so excited just
That's so nice.
running downstairs to fucking watch the second episode of Adolescence, which we'll do tonight. So Lindsay, and then it'll probably be my best mate, Dan.
Oh,
I've been
nice.
friends. We met swimming when we were 8. He runs Jolt with my wife, Lindsay. I partied a lot more than me. He's got Permagurn, so we can be in Costa, queuing up to get coffee, and it'll be like ding, 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 the music, and it'll be like fucking And he's got
that's what Fat Tony has.
He's got like a hand that permanently he's ready to rave. And we've done so many milestones together. He was the oldest in the year. I was the youngest. I've always looked up to him. I'm like August baby. He's a September baby. He did everything first. He lost his virginity first, and he was tried everything first. And his mum and dad, when we were growing up, I didn't like grow up like Oliver Twist or anything. I never wanted for meals, but it was, working class council childhood. Daniel's dad, he lived in a modest house across the park, but privately owned. So he was like one step up than me. It wasn't a council house. And Daniel's dad works in cancer research in science. And I've always, as you can tell, been obsessed by science. And Daniel's dad was it was just pre-internet in my childhood when I needed these answers. So sort of like maybe 90 to 92, 93. And even when the internet came out, we couldn't afford it. And Daniel's dad would go, any question? He had this voice. They played Dungeons and Dragons as adults. They were adult nerds, so which gave us permission to be nerds. I still play Dungeons and Dragons now when I can. And he'd go, ask me any question, boys, and I will answer it without censorship, anything. So we'd all be boys. We'd go, right, we'd be like, what's wanking? Wanking is that masturbation would be the correct word. A completely normal process. You will manipulate your penis until liquid called seminal fluid comes out. A completely normal part of development. You will do this in private, and it is practice for a sex life. Next question. What's sex? And so we had an adult in our group, because it's not provided at school. Well, what's marijuana? These are the risks. This is what's currently known. I don't personally agree with it because I've read this, and he would just be honest with us. He was very anti-drugs based on the evidence at the time. And he was into exciting things like computers and knew about the Commodore Amiga, and he was a nerd. He was working class, but would speak, not like my dad, in the shed with porn on the walls. It's literally porn on the walls. Working on metal with a hammer. My dad is life shit. We're poor. You will die poor. right? My life's been a piece of fucking shit. So just lift weights, be as strong as you can, and knock out any cunt that disagrees with you. I'll be in the shed. Good luck. And there's like tits and fucking upside down V's on the wall, like women doing that. How has it produced me?
Maybe because of Daniel's dad.
MDMA and mushrooms. We're back to the beginning.
That's a full circle moment. Well, thank you so much, Russell. You're so fascinating to talk to. I could talk
you
to
are as
for
well.
so much longer about all of this stuff, but I think it's amazing that you are like, especially with all of the like masculinity stuff. I think I'm just so happy and relieved that men in the public sphere like you exist.